We're taking this to 11! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 11th episode of MUT Tips. Woo! My name is Sean Taylor for the Made Up Theater, and I'm here with a weekly segment where I'm going to discuss a concept of improvisational comedy. If you enjoy the video, give it a like, comment with a question you'd like addressed in the future. But other than that, let's get to our concept for today. So improvisers, many times will have that feeling on stage where there's a sinking sensation in their stomach because the scene is not going well according to them, feels like it's dying or plateauing and just nothing's happening and the audience isn't reacting. You feel kind of stuck in this moment that you can't get out of. And that's natural. And before I get into a few techniques on how to kind of get yourself out of this, first of all, a few things. Don't panic. It's natural to panic on stage because the audience isn't reacting. And the thing is, when we panic, it appears in our body language, it appears in our face, and the audience can see that we're struggling and that we're panicking on stage. And also, the audience is not always gonna laugh at everything you say, but that doesn't mean they're not engaged. Just take this into consideration. You cannot hear a smile because they might not be laughing, but it doesn't mean they're not enjoying themselves. There's a lot of audiences out there that are more introverted and they may not chuckle a lot, but they still are engaged and they're smiling and they're enjoying themselves. There's been many shows that I've had where I might think, oh man, that show was kind of a struggle, it was hard. And then an audience member will come out and say, wow, that was a great show. It's one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, cool. Even though I may have not have saw that as a great show, that doesn't mean the audience doesn't see it that way. So treat your shows as though they are the best shows in the world, even if they don't feel like it. The audience will still have their own interpretation. So now for a few quick techniques that you can implement if you feel like your scene is kind of stuck. There's ways to kind of bring it back to a high point potentially. And those are I'm gonna describe 4 things essentially. So those 4 things are going to be confess something important, discover something important, do something important, and feel something important. So a common struggle within the scene is when the words that are being said, the dialogue is not having an impact and no reactions are happening. So something to do is to confess something that is within the context of the scene to get a reaction out of your partner. That's probably the biggest gift that you can give your partner, is something for them to bite into and to react to, and thus they become more engaged within the scene. An engaged scene is a good scene. It's not gonna be a flat scene, it's gonna be a more powerful and impactful scene. So like we all remember this confession.
No, I am your father. No!
That's a big confession that thus impacts the scene and makes it more meaningful. Another thing you can do is discover something important, which means that within the scene, you might find something, either an object or something within the environment or something on your partner's person, or something within the dialogue. You'd kind of just discover something. And usually this means that what is being presented to you in the moment is very important and you're showing that. So if your partner said, I'm wearing an orange shirt today, something really mundane like that, you can discover something important about it. Is be like, wait, an orange shirt. Oh my gosh, you got the job? At that point, I've kind of discovered that my partner has gotten something really special, a new job opportunity, and we can kind of invest in that. And again, discovering something important could be anything. It could be physical, it can be emotional. Just find something within a scene and bring importance to it. So the next thing is do something important. And I've always been an advocate of being physical on stage and interacting with an environment that you create before the audience's eyes. And the thing about it is I've always said, hey, your scene should be equally appealing to both a deaf person and a blind person. Someone who cannot see should be enticed by the words that are being said, and someone who cannot hear should be enticed by the object work and the environment and the physicality on stage, and they should be able to understand how the scene is progressing without the context of words. So if we get in the mode of just talking heads, where we're just talking back and forth at each other and we're putting more emphasis on the words, and sometimes the scene will start to plateau because the words become meaningless and they become not as impactful. And at that point, we can do something physical within the scene, do something important. So maybe there's a scene where there's kind of some hostility in the environment and we're talking to each other, and then maybe suddenly one of the cast members just pushes a table over You know, it's kind of cliche, but it brings, a reaction out of your partner by doing that. Or maybe you throw a bottle at them, a mime bottle, obviously. But these are kind of things where we can bring emphasis away from the words and more on the actions. So last but not least is feel something important. And this kind of encompasses the other three things that I was talking about, and it pertains to emotions. If we don't feel emotions within scenes, the scene is going to die. Apathy is where improv goes to die. So in a scene, always feel something, whether it's happiness, anger, joy, satisfaction, fear, sadness. Feel it, because if you feel it, it puts less emphasis on the actual words, and you'll just kind of know what to say naturally. If I'm sad, I know what to say because I have this filter over my eyes and over my mouth, and suddenly things just kind of come out naturally because I have context for my character on an emotional basis. So by starting a scene with some type of an emotion, you have an easier chance of avoiding kind of the scene, failing. And if you've, progressed throughout the scene and you feel like, the scene isn't going anywhere, just start to feel something. Have an emotional reaction to what your partner is saying to you. And, repeat stuff back to them with an emotional context, and you can kind of dig your way out of this hole that you're in. Emotion is literally what improv is all about. We need to show it on stage. If we do show it on stage, then the scene won't die. So remember, everybody, remember everybody, if you're on that Titanic ship and you're going down, remember everybody, if you're on that Titanic ship that is known as a struggling improv scene, you are the musicians on board and you go down proudly with that ship. Thank you so much for watching this episode of MUT Tips, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to give it a like, comment below, share it, subscribe on YouTube. It all helps to make this more successful. Other than that, I will see you next week. This concludes the episode of MUT Tips, episode 11!